right now where so much of what we're doing is in our own spaces and like looking at a screen and like in this box here, like I feel really lucky that we were able to have such a small group, that we were able to like physically go to the space to like really understand what these people were doing. And I feel like that wouldn't have come across the same over Zoom.
Like you'd have Brooke painting in the roundabout. People walk up, ask her what she's doing, and she even like displays her paintings every day outside her house. And you have Kathy's community garden. The food she grows ends up with other people who can make use of it in a way like helps her community. And then you have Manny, who we also took interest in, and like he also mentioned how people would walk by, ask him about what his boxing club is about, and he gets traction that way. And I guess for my personal reflection, like I feel like I tend to be scared of what people might think, and sometimes you'd be surprised about the positive reactions you get from just trying out your ideas in public spaces and just taking that chance.
And that also connects to like the purpose of this class as a whole, like why learning in a space is so important, and how like that context of what's surrounding you is really contributes to what you know and what you get out of it.
Because as an art student, I never done any work outside of the school or in the public space. So when I site visit with Brooke, I got a lot of kind of like influence by her, which is really interesting. And then I think it's not only for my education major, but also for my art major.
I thought it was super cool too, and you guys both hit a little bit on this, is about these public spaces are not historically used for open air painters or boxing clubs or like, I mean, not even really community gardens like sometimes, but I thought what was so cool about all of these that I didn't even think that they linked together either, like you said, Tiffany, is that they all had this space and they chose to use it in ways that were not typical of this space, I think, and they kind of reimagined that, which I think is something also that we're kind of talking about in this class, is how space can be used in different ways. And us going to that space, like that was different for us, and we used it in a different way kind of for this project. And Ari gives us this guidance, but then he leaves a lot of it up to us too, and like these conversations, the readings, kind of figuring out what to do in those spaces with the cameras, the lighting, and it's more of like an apprenticeship style. So I think it's cool that we have that, get this autonomy and agency to be able to say what we want, where we want to go, what we want to do, how we want to set up. And that's, I think, has contributed a lot to like my learning and my sense of leadership and individuality and confidence in being able to do these kind of, I don't know, they seem a little bit daunting, talking to people you don't know or interviewing people you don't know, especially in the middle of a pandemic. So it's been cool that we've had that, been given that like extra push to step out of our comfort zone. And honestly, the only thing I really knew about Wallingford was Dick's. Like, there was really nothing else I would think about. Maybe that little tanning salon right there, but I've driven through Wallingford lots of times. I was like, oh, this is a cute neighborhood. Like, there's a lot. It's really close to the U District. And then I think during this project going into Wallingford, I learned a little bit more about the community. I saw a lot more about what was going on. And I think that's really hit with Kathy because she was so involved in the community around her. And she just spoke with such pride to be a part of the Wallingford community.
I feel very similarly, like Dick's and Azelle's, and I feel like I've been to a cupcake place in Wallingford, but yeah, a lot of times it's just been like driving through to get to Green Lake or to get to somewhere else I'm going. I've also spent a lot of time in Gasworks before, but I, for whatever reason in my mind, don't think that Gasworks is like a part of Wallingford. It still feels U District, even though it's like technically not. But yeah, it was really cool to like go deeper into the neighborhoods, even though I've like been to Wallingford before. I don't think I've ever like walked the streets of like the suburb. And so that was really cool just to kind of see the space in that way, and also now like feel connected to it. Even though like we were only there for the purposes of this class, but now it's like, oh, Wallingford, like I know things about it now, even though it's just through the lenses of the 3 people we talked to.
Yeah, I guess for me too, what I knew about Wallingford was it was just kind of like the neighborhood next to UW, with the like the cute houses, and like the most I knew about Wallingford was like Gasworks, And I think there's that big QFC, and there's this
Yeah.
one place called Musashi's, I think that's also in Wallingford. But I kind of knew it was more like is the businesses and the parks, but I didn't really know much about the community itself. Like to me, it was just, Google Maps. There's a bunch of grids. And as we kept walking in, I feel like every time we go back to Wallingford for a site visit, it kind of overlays a memory that I now have of Wallingford. And each time we come back, I have a new understanding of what Wallingford is. Like, oh, there's a community garden here. Oh, there's people who like have artistic. That was kind of cool just to see how my understanding of Wallingford just slowly became different and more personal in a way as we got to meet more people who actually lived in the community. Because normally I would just, we would drive through, walk through, and then like go back home, and that was that. Like see places and go home. So that was kind of how I saw Wallingford before this.
So when I did the research for Wallingford in the beginning of the quarter to find the interviewer, I was doing with the school. Like I sent a lot of email to the school, and there's one school is 5 years ago I taking nurse class in that school, and then I don't know it's a part of Wallingford. So it's just kind of really surprised, even though I thought I don't have that much memory about Wallingford and I didn't have any connection with it, but actually I does. And I also really love to go to the guestwork because I have a lot of photograph project done in that area. So if there's any chance, I can show you guys.